The planet Velmora was known for its beauty-tall crystal trees, glowing flowers, and peaceful skies. But today, the air felt heavy. Royal guards stood in tight lines, and important alien leaders walked with serious faces. A human delegation had arrived, and the palace was tense. Sergeant Ryan Hale, a human soldier, stood quietly near the garden gate. He wasn't dressed like a diplomat. His black armor was worn, his boots dusty, and his face calm but alert. He had been sent to protect the ambassador, not to talk politics. He didn't belong here, but he was used to that. Far above him, on a balcony made of silver glass, Princess Sarai watched with wide eyes. She had heard stories of Humanstal, dangerous, full of anger and fire. Her people told her they were better left alone. But this one, he just stood there, silent, still, not yelling, not smiling, just watching. Sarai was curious, very curious. Later that day, when the talks began inside the palace, Ryan was left outside. The Velmoran guards didn't trust him near their leaders. He didn't mind. He found a quiet corner in the royal garden and sat on a stone bench beneath a glowing tree. The garden smelled like rain and fruit as he sat. He noticed a small Velmoran child, maybe 6 years old, being pushed around by 2 older boys. The child cried out, falling to the ground. Ryan stood up without a word. He'd walked over, his steps loud against the crystal ground. The older boys froze when they saw him. They stared at his broad shoulders, his strange flat face, and those sharp, human eyes. Ryan said nothing, just looked at them slowly. They backed away and ran. The young child looked up at him with fear and wonder. Ryan bent down and gently helped him stand. "It's okay," Ryan said softly. "You're all right now." The child nodded and ran off. From behind a tall, glowing bush, Princess Sarai watched it all. Her silver blue eyes were wide with shock. A humankind to a child? No one had told her humans could be gentle, that they could protect the weak without asking for a reward. That night, she couldn't sleep. The next day, when the humans walked through the palace halls, Sarai was there, pretending to read a scroll, but her eyes kept following Ryan. When the delegation entered the royal library, she stayed outside watching him again as he leaned against the wall, arms crossed. After a while, Ryan noticed her. He nodded politely. "You staring at me, princess?" he asked, voice calm. She blinked, surprised that he spoke to her. "I was not staring," she said quickly. He raised an eyebrow. "Sure looked like it." Sarai stepped closer, curious. "You're not what I expected." "Yeah, what did you expect?" "I thought humans would be loud, wild, dangerous." Ryan shrugged. "I can be, but not always." She smiled a little. "You are strange," he chuckled. "You're not the first to say that." From that day, Sarai began following him. She didn't try to hide it. She asked questions about Earth, about war, about why he chose to become a soldier. Ryan tried to keep his answers short, but her interest didn't fade. One afternoon, while he was walking through the training courtyard, she was there again. "Do humans eat flowers?" she asked. Ryan looked at her, confused. No, not usually. But I read somewhere that humans like to smell roses." He laughed. "Yeah, smelling and eating are 2 different things." Sarai tilted her head. "You laugh differently than we do. Is that a bad thing?" "No, just different." Each day, she stayed closer to him. Other Velmorans watched with whispers. The Queen Thalario was informed, but she only sighed. Let the girl learn. Curiosity must be fed, or it turns into fear. Ryan didn't mind the princess's company, but he didn't quite understand it either. One evening, he found her waiting for him at the palace wall. "You don't have guards with you?" he asked. "I told them to leave," she said proudly. "Not smart," he muttered. "Someone could try something." "I am with you. You stopped 2 bullies. You're strong." Ryan shook his head. "Strength isn't everything." Through the garden, Sarai asked him about his childhood, told her he grew up in a crowded city, where the stars couldn't be seen because of the lights. She looked up at Velmora's glowing sky. "How sad," she whispered. He didn't answer, just kept walking. Suddenly, a loud sound echoed a blast. Ryan's soldier instincts kicked in. He pushed Sci-Fi behind a pillar and drew his sidearm. Guards were already shouting. Smoke filled the air. One of the human envoys had been attacked. Ryan ran toward the sound, leaving Sarai behind. In the confusion, he tackled a shadowy figure near the human quarters. Fight followed, punches, kicks, a knife. Ryan was stabbed in the side, but he held the attacker until guards arrived. When it was over, his armor was torn and blood ran down his waist. But the human diplomat was safe. Sarai ran to him, her face pale with worry. "You're hurt," she said, voice shaking. "I've had worse," Ryan grunted. She helped him sit, ignoring the shocked faces of her people. "I will stay with you," she said firmly, "until you heal." Ryan didn't argue, maybe because he was tired. Maybe because her voice was soft and her hands gentle. That night, in the Royal Medical Wing, Ryan lay on a narrow bed. Sarai sat beside him, refusing to leave. "Why do you care?" he asked finally. "I'm just a soldier." Him, her eyes deep and strange. "Because you are not like the others," she said. "And because I have never met anyone like you before." He stared at the ceiling for a long time, then closed his eyes. Outside the chamber, Queen Thalaria stood in silence. Watching through the glass wall, "She follows him like a shadow," her advisor whispered. "Yes," the queen replied, "and shadows often fall in love with light." For the next few days, Sergeant Ryan Hale was told to rest. His injury wasn't serious, but the palace healers wanted him to stay in the medical wing, of course. Princess Sarai stayed too. She sat near his bed, asking more questions every hour. Sometimes she brought fruit, sometimes old scrolls or books. Sometimes she just watched him sleep. Ryan tried to act annoyed, but deep down he didn't mind. "You don't have duties?" he asked one morning. "I told the court I was studying humans," she said with a small smile. "And right now, you are my subject." Ryan chuckled. "Lucky me." As days passed, Sarai's questions became more personal. "Do you have a family?"
"Oh,"
Ryan said, staring at the ceiling. "Lost them years ago." "I'm sorry, don't be. Life's just like that." Sarai went quiet. She gently touched his hand, curious about the roughness of his skin. "You have scars?" "Soldier's life. Each scar tells a story." Ryan smirked. "Some are boring." "One came from falling off a metal chair." She laughed a soft ringing sound. "I like that story." When Ryan was well enough to walk, Sarai guided him. Through the palace grounds, she showed him the sky gardens, the whispering falls, and the chamber of echoes where voices from the past could still be heard. Ryan was quiet, watching everything with calm interest. The planet Velmora was strange but beautiful. Its people moved with grace. The buildings shimmered with soft light. But he still felt like an outsider, except when Sarai was near. She talked nonstop, about her childhood, about her fear of royal. Meetings about how she hated the heavy gowns they made her wear. Ryan listened patiently. He wasn't used to talking this much with anyone. At one point she asked, "Why are humans always fighting?" He sighed. "Not all humans, but yeah, we fight a lot. Over land, power, even food, and you. I joined the army to survive. Didn't have many choices back home." "You survived," she said softly. "But did you live?" Ryan stopped walking. He didn't answer. She stepped in front of him. "Sorry, that was too personal," he said slowly. Still figuring it out, that evening a formal dinner was held. Leaders from many planets gathered. Humans, Velmorans, and other species shared a large hall under a glass dome. Ryan stood near a corner, dressed in a simple black jacket. He hated such events. Too many rules, too much talking. Then he saw her. Princess Sarai, dressed in royal silver blue, entered the hall. Her crown was small, her smile graceful. But when she saw Ryan, her face lit up. Ignoring the whispers, she walked straight. To him, "You look uncomfortable," she said. "I am." "Good. Then I'm not alone." They stood together, away from the main tables. Queen noticed, her expression unreadable. A noble approached Ryan Lord Tellerick, a cousin of the Queen. He looked down at the human. "You stand close to the Princess, he said coldly. Ryan stayed calm. She walked over to me. And you did not walk away? Sarai stepped forward. Lord Tellerick, do you question me? The noble bowed quickly. Of course not, Princess. I only protect your image. My image is my own shape, she replied. Ryan watched the noble leave. You have fire, he said. I learned it from someone, she replied. A few days later, Sarai led Ryan to a quiet chamber in the palace. It was hidden behind old stone doors, covered in vines. 2 guards stepped aside when they saw her. What is this place? Ryan asked. This is the Hall of Ancients, Sarai said. Our oldest room, few come here. Inside, the walls were covered in carvings, strange symbols, stars, and figures. Sarai touched one wall gently. They say these are messages from before our time. Ryan looked closer. One image showed a being with flames around its body, standing between 2 worlds. That looks like a human, he whispered. Sarai nodded. Some say the legend spoke of a foreign flame who would help Velmora change. That's just a story. Maybe. But sometimes stories are waiting to come true. Ryan stepped away. You're reading too much into this, am I? She asked quietly. Later that night, as Ryan trained in the guard courtyard, Sarai sat nearby watching. He moved fast, practicing hand-to-hand combat alone. His movements were sharp, efficient. Sarai had never seen anyone fight like that. You look like a storm, she said. Ryan wiped his forehead. Better than looking like a tree? She smiled. Do you enjoy fighting? No, but I have to stay ready. She stood and walked toward him. May I learn? Learn what? To fight like you. He paused. You're a princess. Forbidden. That forbidden? I'm forbidden from many things, she said. Doesn't stop me. He hesitated. Then nodded. Over the next few days, Ryan taught her simple moves. Stance. Balance. How to throw a punch without hurting your own hand. She learned fast, graceful, but fierce. They trained in secret. In the moonlight. In the empty garden. One evening, as she blocked one of his strikes, she laughed. I've never felt so free, she said. Ryan looked at her sweating, smiling, glowing under the stars. Freedom looks good on you, he said, but not everyone was happy. Whispers grew louder in the palace. Nobles muttered behind fans. Advisors warned the queen. The people notice, your majesty. The princess follows the human like a shadow. Queen Thalaria sat silently. On her throne, her face unreadable. She is learning, the queen said. But shadows that follow light sometimes burn. One morning, Sarai waited for Ryan outside the training hall. But Ryan never came. Instead, 2 royal guards arrived. They bowed to her. By order of the queen, one said, you are not to see the human again. Sarai froze. What? Why? Reasons were given. Please return to your chambers. She ran to her mother's court. The queen stood before a map, her hands behind her back. Why? Sarai demanded. Why this order? You are too close to a danger you don't understand, the queen replied. He's not dangerous. He is human. His presence has become a question, and questions lead to instability. Sarai's eyes burned. So you will lock me away? No, her mother said. But you will obey, for your people, for your future. Sarai turned and left, her heart heavy. That night she stood alone in the garden. The stars above her were still, but her thoughts were storming. She missed Ryan's voice, his quiet strength. The way he looked at her like she was a person, not a symbol. She clenched her fists. I won't lose him, she whispered. Not like this. The next day passed slowly. The palace felt colder to Princess Sarai without Ryan's presence. Her usual curiosity was gone. She ignored her tutors, skipped council meetings, and didn't speak during meals. She missed him. Not just the stories he told or the way he taught her to throw a punch, but the way he listened. The way he saw her, not as a royal title, but as a person. Late at night, Sarai left her chambers quietly. She wore a plain robe, her crown left behind. With soft steps, she moved through hidden hallways. Passing guards who bowed without question, she made her way to the human quarters, guarded by palace soldiers. "Step aside," she said calmly. "Princess." "We were ordered not to," she raised a hand. "I will take full responsibility. Move." The guards hesitated, then obeyed. Inside, Sergeant Ryan Hale sat on a bench, sharpening a small blade. He looked up as the door opened and froze when he saw her. "Sarai?" She stepped in, closed the door, and stared at him. "You didn't come?" She said, "I was ordered not to." "And you always follow orders?" "Ryan set the blade down when I have to. Your queen made it clear. He's my mother," Sarai said. "Not my master." She walked closer. "I don't care about the whispers. I don't care about nobles or rules." Ryan stood up slowly. "This isn't a game, Sarai. You're royalty. I'm a soldier. I know what I'm doing." "You think you do," Ryan said. "But if you keep coming here," she stepped even closer. "I don't want to stop." They looked at each other, the silence thick between them. Finally, Ryan sighed. "You're stubborn." "I learned it from someone," she said with a small smile. The next day, they met again, this time in a deeper part of the palace, a forgotten corridor near the old archives. Sarai had discovered it as a child and kept it secret. Here, they were safe from eyes and ears. They talked for hours. Ryan shared more stories about Earth's skyscrapers, oceans, music. Sarai listened closely, eyes wide with wonder. "What's ice cream?" she asked. Ryan laughed. "A cold dessert, sweet. Comes in flavors." "We have flavored air here," she said. "But that sounds better." He chuckled. "I'll get you some one day." Later, Sarai led Ryan to the Star Ruins, a place buried. Beneath the palace, the entrance was hidden behind a waterfall. Only the royal family knew of it. They moved through dark stone halls, their way lit by soft blue crystals. "These ruins are older than Velmora itself," Sarai whispered. "Mother never allowed me to enter." "Oh, but I want to show you something." In the deepest chamber, they found a round wall carved with old alien script and pictures. In the center was a figure holding a flame in one hand. Standing between two worlds, Sarai traced the image. "The legend says the stranger of flame will bring change to Velmorant by force, but by heart." Ryan stared at it. "You think that's me?" "I don't know," she said softly. "But when I'm with you, I feel like I'm no longer just a princess. I feel alive." Ryan looked at her. His heart beat faster, but he didn't speak. The next day, things changed. A meeting was held in the Grand Court. Ryan was ordered. To attend, he stood at the side. Dressed in formal armor, Queen Thalaria sat on her throne, calm but cold. The room was full of nobles and advisors. "Sergeant Hale," the queen said, "you have served with honor, but we believe your presence now causes unrest." Ryan didn't move. "Your Majesty, I have broken no rules." "You have not," she agreed. "But the bond between you and my daughter, intentional or not, has stirred dangerous talk." Stepped forward. "Mother, I chose to be near him." "You are young," the queen said sharply. "Your heart is clouded." "No," Sarai said boldly. "My heart is clear." Murmurs filled the room. The queen turned to Ryan. "You will be removed from the palace at once. A shuttle waits." Ryan didn't argue. He looked at Sarai once, then turned and walked out. That night, Sarai locked herself in her room. She paced the floor, heart racing. Her mother was forcing Ryan to leave, possibly off-world. She wouldn't let that happen. At midnight, she changed into travel clothes and left through a secret tunnel under her chamber floor. She met her attendant, Ilya, who waited with a small bag of supplies. "You're sure about this?" Ilya asked. "Yes, I'm going to find him." They moved quickly through shadowed paths until they reached the edge of the eastern wall, where the human shuttle waited. Meanwhile, Ryan sat alone inside the ship, waiting for final clearance. His orders were simple: return to the neutral zone and await reassignment. He hated it, just as the engines powered up. The door flew open. Sarai burst in, hair loose, eyes blazing. Ryan stood up in shock. "What are you doing?" "You leave, Sarai. This is a human military ship. Can't just... I don't care." She walked up to him. "You told me humans fight to survive. Well, I'm fighting to live for once, really live." "I'm not worth this," he said quietly. "To me, you are." Outside, alarms started. Guards were alerted. The Queen would know in seconds. Ryan grabbed Sarai's hand. "We need to go. Now." They fled the ship before it took off, running through the jungle paths east of the palace. Ilya stayed behind to delay the guards. Sarai ran fast, keeping up with Ryan. The night was dark, lit only by moonlight and glowing plants. "Where are we going?" she asked. "There's an old crash site up ahead. Human tech buried under the ground. We can hide there." They reached a cave hidden by vines and entered. Inside, Ryan activated a light. The cave had metal pieces, broken walls, and crates left. "From a crash years ago? We'll rest here," he said. "But they'll find us soon." "I don't care." Ryan sat down, breathing hard. Sarai sat beside him. After a while, she leaned her head on his shoulder. "I'm scared," she whispered. I am too," he said. "But I'm glad you're here." Back in the palace, the Queen stood in the control tower watching a map. Her advisors panicked. "We must send a search party. We must call the humans. This is a scandal." But the Queen raised a hand. She ran to him, she said. "Not the other way. She's still your daughter, Your Majesty." "Yes," the Queen said. "And her fire, stronger than I thought." Back in the cave, Sarai looked up at Ryan. "If they catch us, they'll separate us." And Ryan nodded. "Then we keep running. Even if we don't know where, we'll figure it out." She smiled. "Then I'll follow you, always." He looked at her, and for the first time, let his guard down. "You're not just a princess," he said. "You're something else." "What am I?" "You're brave." The cold air of the cave was filled with quiet breathing. Ryan Hale sat near the wall, keeping watch. Beside him, Princess Sarai slept, her head resting on a rolled cloak. Her peaceful face was lit by the soft glow of a crystal hanging from the cave ceiling. Outside, the jungle was alive. Insects hummed. Small glowing creatures floated through the trees. But Ryan's mind was alert. He knew this peace wouldn't last long. Sarai stirred awake. "You didn't sleep," she whispered. "I don't sleep well," Ryan replied. "Because of the war." He nodded. "Too many memories. Too many enemies." She looked at him with soft eyes. "Do you see me as an enemy?" Ryan turned to her. "You know, you're the only person who made me feel human again." Sarai smiled. "Then don't push me away. Not now." Ryan looked down. "You left everything for me." "I left a cage," she said firmly. "With you, I feel free." Just before sunrise, Sarai and Ryan left the cave. They moved through the thick jungle, following an old trail Ryan remembered from patrol maps. It led toward the edge of the capital city, where an old satellite tower stood. The tower hadn't been used in years, but Ryan hoped to use it to contact the human embassy. "We'll need extraction," he explained. "But if we call for it now, your people will jam the signal." "Then we send the signal from somewhere higher," Sarai said. "There's a cliff path west of here. The signal can't be blocked from that height." Ryan glanced at her, impressed. "You're more than just a princess, I know," she said proudly. "You taught me that." As they traveled, something felt wrong. Ryan kept looking over his shoulder. By afternoon, his instincts proved right. Suddenly, laser fire tore through the trees. "Run!" Ryan shouted, pulling Sarai behind a rock. A group of royal guards moved through the forest with rifles and stun weapons. They weren't here to talk, they were here to capture. Ciri's heart pounded. They'll take me back. They'll take us both, Ryan muttered, loading his pistol. He took Ciri's hand. We go now. Don't stop. If we get separated, follow the cliff trail. I'm not leaving you. Then stay close. They moved fast, ducking between trees, sliding down muddy hills, dodging fire. Ryan returned a few shots, never to kill, just to keep the guards back. At one point, Ciri tripped, scraping her knee. Ryan picked her up without a word and kept running. They reached the edge of the cliff trail, gasping for breath. The guards were behind them, but slowing down. Almost there, Ryan said, his voice rough. At the top of the trail was a broken stone tower. It leaned slightly, but still stood tall enough to reach a clear signal line above the trees. Ryan entered. First, checking for danger. The old control panel inside was dusty, but still had power. He tapped the controls, fingers fast. Are you calling the embassy? Ciri asked. Yes. If they answer, they'll send a shuttle. We just have to hold out for a few hours. Suddenly, a voice rang out behind them. Don't move. Ryan spun, gun raised. Lord Tellerick, the Queen's cousin, stood at the entrance. With 6 guards, his eyes burned with hatred. Lower your weapon, human, he said. You've broken every rule. You've stolen the princess. I didn't steal her, Ryan growled. She chose to come. Tellerick sneered. She's confused. A victim of your tricks. I know what I'm doing, Ciri shouted. You're endangering the entire royal line, Tellerick barked. I'd rather live in danger than live in silence, she said. Tellerick raised his hand. Take them both. Ryan stood in front of Ciri. You'll have to go through me. I plan to, Tellerick said coldly. He signaled the guards forward. A fight broke out. Ryan moved fast, using every skill he had. He disarmed 2 guards and knocked down another. But there were too many. One guard grabbed Ciri, pulling her back. Ryan yelled and charged, but Tellerick fired a stun bolt that hit Ryan in the side. He collapsed, his body jerking with pain. Ciri screamed, struggling. Tellerick walked up to Ryan, now lying on the floor. You were nothing. A tool. A mistake in our plans. What? Plans? Ryan muttered weakly. Tellerick smiled. The Queen doesn't know, but I have allies. I plan to break the alliance. Blame the humans. Take power myself. But then you got too close to the princess, Ciri gasped. You, traitor, said calmly. You were a problem. Now you're done. He raised his gun to Ryan's head. A blast rang out, but not from Tellerilia. Ciri's attendant stood there with a stolen guard weapon. Tellerick staggered back, hit in the shoulder. Let them go, Ilia shouted. Ciri used the moment to elbow her guard and grab Ryan. Ryan groaned, still weak, but awake. I'm not dying here, he growled. With Ilia covering them, they escaped through a side passage of the tower, sliding down a hidden path toward the landing. Field below, 30 minutes later, a human shuttle descended from the sky. The embassy had received Ryan's message as the shuttle landed. Ciri helped Ryan stand. You're safe now, she whispered. Only if you come with me. Ryan said, I'm not going anywhere without you. They boarded the shuttle. Doors closed behind them. Ciri looked out the window one last time as Velmora's trees faded below. I never thought I'd leave home like this, she said softly. Ryan reached over and took her hand. You're not alone at the human embassy. Base, both Ryan and Ciri were examined and treated. Ryan's wounds were healing slowly. Ciri was tired but calm. That night, as they sat on the embassy balcony, Ryan asked, Do you regret it? Ciri shook her head. No, I've never felt more like me. You gave up your world. Maybe, but I found something better. They sat in silence, hand in hand. Back in the palace, chaos had erupted. Tellerick was caught, exposed as a traitor. Queen Thalaria sat alone in her private chamber, holding a carved pendant Ciri's, left behind. Her advisors waited for her decision. Finally, she spoke. Send a message to the human embassy. What message, Your Majesty? I want to speak to my daughter, not as a queen, as a mother. The sun rose slowly over the human embassy, casting golden light across the silver towers. Inside, Princess Sarai stood by a wide window, her hands resting on the glass. Her eyes were calm, but her thoughts were heavy. Behind her, Sergeant Ryan Hale entered the room, is wearing a clean black uniform, his wounds now healing well. He looked more like himself, strong, steady, but there was something different in his eyes, something softer. "They sent a message," he said. Sarai turned to face him from the palace. He nodded. "Your mother. She wants to speak with you. Privately." Sarai's heart skipped a beat. She had not heard her mother's voice since the day she ran away. Part of her was afraid. Another part missed her. "Should I go?" she asked Ryan. "That's your choice." She looked out the window again. "If I go, will you still be here when I return?" Ryan stepped closer. "I told you before. I'm not going anywhere."
Right.
Later that day, a secure communication line was opened. Sarai sat alone in a quiet room, staring at the glowing screen. When the connection began, Queen Thalaria's face appeared. The queen looked older. "Tired, Sarai," she said softly. "Mother." A long silence passed between them. "I was wrong," the queen said finally. "I tried to protect you with rules, but I forgot how strong your heart is." Sarai blinked. She didn't expect those words. "You risked your title, your safety, everything," the queen continued. "And for what?" Sarai lifted her chin. "For someone who never treated me like a puppet, someone who saw me." The queen nodded slowly. "You love him?" "Yes." "Then I won't stop you." Sarai's eyes filled with tears. "You mean that?" "I do," the queen replied. "Come home, but not as a prisoner. Come as a voice. As a leader, if you and your human wish to return together, you are welcome." Sarai smiled, her voice shaking. "Thank you, Mother." A few days later, the embassy prepared for a major summit. Velmoran and human leaders would meet to discuss peace, new trade, and diplomacy. It was the first time in history that both sides truly listened to each other. Ryan stood in front of a mirror, adjusting his uniform. "You clean up well," said a voice behind him. He turned to see Sarai in a formal gown, not too royal, just simple and beautiful. Her teal blue skin shimmered under soft lights. Her crown was gone. She wore a silver pin shaped like a star, the Human Alliance symbol. "You ready for this?" Ryan asked. "I'm ready if you're beside me." Entered the summit hall together. Hundreds of eyes turned to look. Whispers filled the air, but not with hate this time, with surprise. And Hope Queen Thalaria stood at the head of the hall. When she saw her daughter walk in with Ryan beside her, she gave a slow nod of respect. "Let us begin," the queen said. "Today we shape a new story." During the summit, Sarai stood before both sides. "In the past," she said, "we believed that differences made us enemies. But now, I know differences can also build bridges." She looked at Ryan. "I followed this human not because he saved me. I followed him because he showed me another way to live with truth, strength, and freedom. And I want that for all our people." The crowd was silent for a moment, then a wave of quiet clapping began. It grew louder. Even the queen smiled. After the summit, Sarai and Ryan walked through the palace gardens, the same place they had first seen each other. "Feels like years ago," Ryan said. "You were standing by that tree," Sarai said, pointing. "You were spying on me." "I wasn't spying," she said, grinning. "I was observing." They both laughed. Then Sarai grew serious. "What now?" she asked. "You stay here? Or do I go with you?" Ryan took her hand. "We don't have to choose. Velmora and Earth are opening gates. There will be travel, exchanges, ambassadors. You think they'll let a soldier be an ambassador?" "Maybe not a normal one," Ryan said. "But I'm not alone now," Sarai smiled. "Then we'll build this future together." Months passed. A new embassy was built between Earth and Velmora. Peace grew. Soldiers returned home. Trade began. And in schools across both planets, children learned not about war, but about unity. Ryan and Sarai became symbols not of royalty or military, but of change. They traveled together, shared their story, and helped others learn to listen, not judge. One evening, on a quiet earth hill under a sky full of stars, Ryan knelt on one knee and opened a small box. Inside was a ring of human custom, simple and beautiful. Sarai stared, shocked. "Will you walk beside me?" Ryan asked. "Not as a princess, not as a soldier, just as us." Tears welled in her eyes. "Yes," she whispered. "Always." In the final scene on a new day, Sarai walks ahead through a crowd of children during a school visit. They reach for her hands, their faces full of wonder. Behind her, Ryan watches with pride. One little girl tugs at his sleeve. Does she really? "A princess?" Ryan nods. "Yes, and you." "I'm just the guy she decided to follow," he says with a smile. The child giggles. "She must like you a lot." "She does," Ryan says softly. "And I like her even more." As the stars shine above and laughter fills the air, the story of the human and the alien princess becomes legend, a tale not of war but of hope.